There you go.
Very good. Very
Yeah. Home button on camera. It's on. There you go. I didn't hear it say we're recording.
Oh, it didn't. You missed a step somewhere.
Click Wi-Fi over my click more. Record through the top. Oh, there you go. Now we're ready. Oh, there's these.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order Public Works meeting July 19th. Moved by Corbett, second by Paquette. The Public Works Committee meeting be open at 7 o'clock. All in favor? Adopt the minutes. Previous. We're gonna push it. Moved by Steve, second by Corbett. That the agenda for the Public Works Committee meeting for July 19th, 2023 be approved as circulated, permitted. All in favor? Carried. Any disclosure or pecuniary interest? See none. Correspondence and information.
You have to sign this page.
All right.
Yeah. That's with the last meeting.
Or the July. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Got it?
You just gotta keep switching it up, I guess. Moved by Featherstone, second by Corbett. The minutes of the Public Works Committee meeting be held on May 3rd, 2023, be adopted and circulated. All in favor? Carried. Correspondence, none, new business.
So we're going to talk about the review of our capital budget options for road work at our last general government meeting. We did have a discussion on the proposed road projects. However, the general government committee thought they would look further into what road work we could provide with the same amount of budget. So in that discussion and direction, we looked at doing some sections of Development Road. We have already done the underground work over 2 years with about $350,000. So most of the culverts have been already relined that needed to be. There are some culverts that are still remaining that are not as deep as the others were, that could be changed. However, what I'm presenting to to the committee this evening is no work. So the culverts are already finished. The ditching is already there. The Development Road has extremely deep ditches. It has been said that they were going to make Development Road into a highway at one time in between 11 and 17. That's why that road structure is as it is. We looked into doing some chip seal between South Shore Road and Line 3, and then doing the last kilometer at the opposite end, going to Mount Pleasant. So Mount Pleasant to Rutherglen line. The estimated amount to do that would be $690,002.43. And that's just doing milling, adding 100 millimeter of aggregate, mixing it in, and putting the chip and tar double coat on top. We've also have to present the one section that is on Pine Lake Road. I have an understanding that maybe not everybody knows where that is on Pine Lake. Sorry, Donna has a little picture of Pine Lake, but you live down there, so you get it. I hope. Okay. So you can see on this little map we have here that the first section from Highway 17, the first 900 meters is asphalt. And then it's chip sealed across the bridge up to Shields Point Road. And then after that, the remainder is all gravel. So that chip seal portion is the portion that the several concerns I have from our citizens, that's what they're regarding. And it's been patched and patched and patched and patched. So what we were presenting is that council could chip seal it, re-chip seal it and mill it and do another 100 mil of gravel and mix into it. And that would be $140,949. We could asphalt it, which would be $752,000. However, we've done a couple things in the past where we've taken recycled asphalt and we've put it on top of the chip and tar. We've done that to the far end of near North Star Road on Development Road. We did it there. No, it is not a permanent fix. However, it'll get you through a few years. And we can also grade it and repack it. Or we return it to gravel for $21,095. We have a resource for very cheap milling, as opposed to other companies around. So they would have to be tendered separately from the project. And we still have Railway Street, which we have already discussed, with the portion of Mark Street. When we did a little Excel spreadsheet here for the committee, we also included, if the committee deems it necessary, we could also turn those sections into gravel. And that cost would be $483,697.
So on development, there's no underground work to be done, no frost heaves, no rocks, no.
Several years ago, I always know the name of the people that live beside where I want to talk to you about. Anyways, near South Shore Road, several years ago, we had a culvert failure there. And that's actually when I first learned about relining, and we tried it and how great it is. So that culvert's been relined. There's only one more culvert that's down by the Four Corners that's already been relined. And there's no culverts there's culverts in between, which have already been relined. So South Shore to Line 3, no underwork, no ditching.
What about on the far end?
The far end, there is one culvert that would have to be changed right at the corner of the Mount Pleasant Cemetery and Mount Pleasant Road. which is like so at the surface that it needs to be changed, like you can see it. And that's an in-house event. We would do that work.
Go ahead. So as I drive development and head towards South Shore, like it's like the asphalt's failing there, obviously, and the public works team has done a million patches.
Right.
What's causing it to fail? Because that's asphalt. And
It's
like,
chip.
Is it chip seal?
Yes. It's very old.
Chip seal.
It's like 40 some years old, I believe.
Right.
Right.
Which part of development is asphalt versus chip seal?
The part over Blue Sea culvert only.
That's kind of down by Miller's pit there on development. Okay, thank you. Just after.
Because we did that because the current direction from the previous council was that we were going into an asphalt project.
Right.
And we had to surface over top of that culvert, and that's why we chose to do it with asphalt.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, one more question. Go ahead. Sorry for jumping all over the place, but the chip seal portion for Pine Lake Road.
Right.
So chip seal would be $140,000. But if we went to recycled asphalt, we could do it for $14,000,
Correct.
which is $7,000 cheaper than just turning it back into gravel.
Yes. Fortunately for the township, the pit that's right beside us, that's owned by Miller Paving, they're only charging us $14 a ton. It's been in their yard, I believe, since it was in our yard, but we've used ours up mostly. When it came from Highway 17, it went into that Miller's pit, and we would be able to haul it ourselves.
And how much time would we get out of $14,000 approximately before the road would need to be resurfaced again?
We did North Star about 4 years ago, and we haven't touched it since. And like I said, we can grade the material actually and fluff it back up kind of, and it gets packed back down by the traffic.
Okay, thank you. That was my question.
I mean, yeah, I'm kind of, as long as we can grade it, I mean, we're re-graveling the rest of the road. I mean,
Yeah.
at least we can, when it gets potholey, you can work with it.
And recycled asphalt can be, like, it'll help, because I understand it's a hill, so water
Yes.
drainage, it's more stable, it won't wash away, it's all of that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And I think that section of that road where it's potholey is low, so are we doing
Yeah.
gonna do a bit of a grade raise there?
For
before
sure, we will do that.
Okay, thank you.
And you would remove all that holy,
Oh,
Potholes.
sorry, Donna.
That's okay. Neri can finish.
Go ahead.
I was wondering if you're going to remove all that
Old
portion,
chip seal.
that's all broken up?
We could mill it and put gravel in there and put the material on top. Recycled asphalt is often used for underneath guardrail systems, shouldering. It's a great product actually because it doesn't wash away.
Are you gonna mill that little section, or are you just gonna rip it up with the grader?
I would just rip it up with the grader with the scarifier.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And then it'll break up, and then you can just work it into the gravel road.
Mhm.
Okay.
Go ahead, Councillor Clark or Donna.
Sorry.
Yes,
So you'll have to bear with me because I know nothing about roads. And so what we're trying to accomplish today is we have $860,000 that we are trying to allocate to, it looks like 3 projects, right? So to decide between railroad and development and Pine Lake, and what method that we are going to be doing these things for. So my questions would be, you talk about like the double coat of chip seal. So I would want to know the cost benefit analysis of spending that money to do that. What's my, rate of return? How long am I getting over picking a portion and asphalting it? So what is the best value for my money for development? And, for Pine Lake, I think that so it's going to be an extra, well, I guess $14,000 if we do the to the 200 and because how much is it for 210,000 for the gravel, right?
Right. Correct.
Okay. So 210,000 plus the 14,000, and that's gonna gravel Pine Lake and take care of the one section, right?
Correct, and it's 250,000, Donna,
Sorry,
not
250. So we're at 264 for Pine Lake. And then whatever's left over of the 860, that's what we have to either do developmental and either asphalt as much as we can, or do this other stuff that's cheaper, but isn't gonna last as long.
It does not last as long as asphalt, or there are maintenance measures that must be taken. But we're in this meeting because we have to guess whether or not we're willing to take the risk over cost.
Right. And the other
Right.
thing is you talk about renting an excavator to finish the ditching on Pine Lake. We don't have an excavator.
No, we don't.
Okay,
However,
so how much is that going to cost? Because is that coming out of operating or capital? And how much is that going to cost? Because you're going to add that to the 264 that we're on now for Pine Lake.
it's in our operational budget.
It is, okay.
Right. So the plan is that we could do this every season, rent an excavator, so we can start a ditching program as well. So our ditching program that will begin with Pine Lake.
Okay, we don't currently ditch, don't,
We do, but we use a backhoe, so it would take a very long time to get large projects done.
It's very inefficient.
Yes.
okay.
And when it comes to the asphalt and chip seal, asphalt lasts longer, but there are treatments that can be done. Asphalt's less maintenance.
But what's the year over year cost? So what I want to know is what is the best, where am I getting my bang for my buck here? Is it better to just, suck it up and take the remaining money, the $400,000-$600,000 and asphalt the worst portion of development for however many years that is, or, put this secondary solution and it's almost band-aiding it, right? And again, so the price went up substantially because nothing was done for 3 years, right? It went from 610 to $1 million over 3 years.
No,
That was on Mark Street.
no, that's incorrect, actually.
Okay,
Because 3 years ago, we presented the Railway Street project. And however, that project was presented as only resurfacing the road in asphalt. And then that project within 3 years went to digging out the entire road in it almost. That is how the increase became. It didn't
Okay.
become that because of
Well-
a 3-year degradation.
Yeah, but again, why would resurface something that moves and heaves?
right.
It's a waste of money.
That is a waste of time and money, exactly. So initially then there was an incorrect solution, right? But nothing was done, like nothing's been done for 3 years, correct?
Correct.
Go ahead.
And just to be clear, you're more referring to, obviously staff were taking direction of council of the day, and this isn't yet right. Okay, thanks. I just want to make sure that.
I'm just
that
trying
the
to get a
concern was
picture
clear, yeah.
of, right? And so,
Yeah.
to Dan's point, I think that we just need to bite the bullet and get something done, right? And then spend this money. And I know that you're saying that we're using up the money, but as it's sitting there, we're not saving anything.
'Cause
Prices just keep going up.
Right.
Correct.
Every year it's more expensive.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So we have $860,000 that we're looking to spend. So I'm trying to do some math here. I would like to move forward with Pine Lake actually getting gravel this year. So let's say we're graveling it and we're putting the $14,000 for recycled asphalt in that one section. So that's 264. So now when I do the math, we can do South Shore to Blue Sea for $270,000 and Blue Sea to Line 3 for $270,000, that would max out that piece of the budget, right?
Correct.
So we would not, that would give us 4 kilometers of development road being done this year, and Pine Lake Road getting both the recycled asphalt and re-gravelled.
Right.
From my perspective, that's best bang for our buck to get things going. I would prefer to, listen, in the perfect world, I want asphalt everywhere because, hey, lasts way longer. It's probably our best bang for our buck.
That's way more
But
money.
when you look at $1.3 million to do South Shore to Blue Sea versus $270,000, well, it's going to take us 20 years to try and actually asphalt development if we don't. So
Because we can put a double coat, chip seal coat on, and then in a year or two, you do a reseal on it.
A
So it
microsurfacing.
Well, there's microsurfacing, but there's also a reseal, which is a little cheaper than microsurfacing. It's whatever we decide down the road, but there's options to keep on top of your chip seal, keep it,
Right, because currently we're spending
We-
$60,000 a year in pothole repair.
and I would imagine this year's gonna be more.
Yes, because we've just shoveled honestly for
I've
a
seen it
month.
all.
it's
Okay.
incredible.
Yeah,
I'm not like,
it's a waste
exaggerating.
of manpower, a waste of material, waste of money. Just keep fixing potholes.
but we must because we have to
Oh,
follow
No,
minimum.
no, you have to. I'm just saying, this should be development road and then we're gonna start working on other roads that are chip sealed because, fixing potholes all the time is a waste of your resources.
Yes, we can't do anything.
Go ahead.
Could you reseal the chip seal when you put it down? No?
You could
Would-
immediately,
Well, yeah, but you want
but
it to be driven on and chip seal is like stone. You need to pound it into the tar. So you let it sit for a year, 2 at most, and then you reseal it. And then down the road, if it's holding up and, we could reseal it again down the road, like to try and protect our investment.
But what's making the holes in the chip seal is the snow and the ice
it's
and
just the age, Neri, it's so thin. That if when tires in intersections turn, or when you go up a hill, it starts to eat away at the material. And then once water can get in there, it's over. Like it starts to expand and it blows it out and
If that chip seal truly is that old, you got your money's worth.
oh, yes.
But we just can't let it go any longer.
Pretty sure we only have about half a kilometer left. If we just keep filling the potholes, we're gonna have a whole surface of just potholes.
Right, but then it would look like the chip seal on Pine Lake.
Yeah, that was a joke. I
I know.
No, yeah, asphalt would be awesome, but we just don't have the resources for it or financial resources.
So you're recommending the chip seal then, Dan? You think that is?
Yeah, I would think the double chip seal and then, like I said, resurface it next year as we do another section. We resurface the section we did in the previous year.
Okay.
And we
much
could
does
look at
an excavator
microsurfacing.
cost?
How much does an excavator
About
cost?
$500,000.
Wow, 300,000.
300,000?
300,000 for the size of the excavator we'd need here.
Can we get like an attachment for that grader thing that we just bought?
There's no excavating attachment for a grader.
Are you sure? Can we invent one? We're pretty ingenious.
No, yeah, renting one is the cheapest
Okay.
rate at this point, and maybe down the road we could look at purchasing one, but we can't right now.
And chip seal
Gug
is a
deals,
very,
Gug deals. Do they have one on Gug Deals?
We don't want to buy anybody else's headache.
Okay.
I think that if we're going to do anything, as much as we don't want to go with chip seal, I don't think we have a choice.
We don't have a choice, no.
and it's often a very well-used material in municipalities.
Yeah.
Most municipalities without a core center, such as Bonfield or Rutherglen, don't usually asphalt.
Asphalt.
It's always chip seal.
The only thing I would suggest is
maybe down the road, the intersections you asphalt, because chip seal
Blaze
breaks up
East,
where
yes.
everybody turns, right? So where you're just going straight, the chip seal handles it fine. It's where you turn all the time. That's where it starts breaking apart.
And Blue Sea has a great intersection still. It's very, and it's good.
So
with
why
the
don't we look
asphalt.
at, sorry, why don't we look at that right away?
Because again, we're not going to get as much. I get it, but we're not going to get what we want to get accomplished if we do that. Because that intersection, the first intersection is probably going to cost us.
The first intersection up the four corners.
Yeah, it's already done.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good, but
Yeah, like where the pavement in it parts
Right.
are, not where the asphalt
yeah,
or
so
the
it
chip
is
seal
already,
leads up
that
to
one's
it.
already paved. That's the four corners. But
So I know that chip seal breaks down faster where corners are. But does it make sense that as we're going down development, you get to South Shore Road? Because I find as soon as somebody turns on South Shore Road, they're hitting their gas and the potholes just
That's how
become
it starts,
crazy.
yeah.
Can you not go 100 meters or 30 meters or whatever it ends up being, so that as you turn that corner, when people go to accelerate, they're not on gravel? And then it's just, I'm just looking to try and save the constant maintenance that must be at those corners.
It always is.
Right.
And it's common also on gravel roads. Like
It's
you
usually
get that.
sport cars that are taking off too fast on the.
And like, I understand, Donna, I wish everything was asphalt. you
Oh, I
know,
know.
Yeah, but it's just about like what we can afford.
I think this is a good plan. I think it's a good plan, and I think it's something. We're going to get two things done. And then maybe in the next capital budget, or we can plan to do the intersections then and go a little wider. So I need a plan. And so this is the beginning of the plan. We get development done, Pine Lake done.
Started. Started.
4 kilometers of development.
Oh,
Started.
started. We get it started. Sorry, we get it started, and then we get Pine Lake done, and then we go on to something with whatever funds we have next year. We go on to something else and
Well,
chip
I mean-
away at it.
right,
Right.
there's a whole host of roads that we,
Oh my goodness.
that nothing's been done. So
Yes.
So, just so we're all clear, if council agrees, we'd be basically 270, that's 400, that's $540,000 to do 4 kilometers of development road. Then we gravel for 250 Pine Lake Road plus $14,000 to do the recycled asphalt on that one piece. That would be $804,000. It leaves us $56,000. Is that enough money to actually start looking at when you get to South Shore Road? We could do the first piece of South Shore Road in chip seal, or like, what are we doing? Like,
You would have to do
$56,000.
You would have to do asphalt, in my opinion,
Oh,
because
so
it's where you're,
it's where you turn.
it's an intersection.
no, I get it, but I'm like, we have 56,000. So we have $56,000 left of our budget
You
to
could
spend on
save it.
capital. We
Yeah, I think
could.
that might be our buffer. I think we save that, and that's the basis for the next capital budget. So we're going into the next capital budget with $56,000, and then whatever the gas tax or whatever else we have to add to that next year. And then in November, Ann's going to come back to us with the next plan to spend the next bit of money on what needs to be done.
Correct.
No, everybody seems pretty confident on chip seal, but we haven't talked about gravel. And obviously, there was discussion before about changing development back to gravel. You would get way more than 4 kilometers done at that point, no?
You would just be pulverizing and gravel, but
Then you have calcium that you have to add.
And way more upkeep.
Yes.
way more upkeep. I mean, for the amount of traffic development sees, the grader will live out there.
Would development be the busiest road in Bonfield, except for 17, but would it not
We
be the
actually have our
busiest?
traffic counters out right now. We got all the traffic counters out on development. I had the traffic counters for 6 weeks. So we can do the whole entire system.
Okay,
So I
excellent.
will be able to exactly tell you what's going on out there.
But I would say yes.
Okay,
That are young.
Yeah, the village is very busy as well of Bonfield, and so is the Rutherglen Hamlet. So, but everybody's trying to get to those places.
But everybody's got to come to the landfill, so
That's
that
true.
means Development Road.
Yeah.
If that's asphalt going to the landfill site,
Yes, it is, Mary.
yeah, it's good.
Very good, yes. And believe it or not, that only cost $1 million at the time. I know it's hard. I've never worked where you only said, well, only $1 million. Anyways, yes,
Welcome to the world now, right?
yeah,
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay.
okay.
I think that's good game plan.
Perhaps Donna, do you want to second this one?
Sure.
Too late. You did.
Well, I just feel like you want to be part of the meeting then.
Moved by Featherstone, second by Clark. Whereas the Public Works Committee has reviewed the options for road work for the 2023 capital budget, and that Public Works Committee recommends the council to be added the project discussed to capital budget for council's deliberation. All in favor? Carried.
With money left over. I gotta ask Dawn.
With money left over.
So that was new business, unfinished business.
So we were talking about the columbarium, and I apologize because we had our one meeting where we talked about our budget only. So it did take a bit of time also to get response. So I reached out to one company just for budget purposes. We would obviously have to do some tendering for the purchase of a columbarium. I think it's very important. Often the cemetery is a forgotten asset. And once the cemetery is full, where do we put people? And it's such a special place. I don't know how to describe. Like it's so right. Like everything that happens there
So
is
the
the last
area
day of
that's,
someone.
the area that's cleared out up on going towards landfill, is that like all we own?
No, that's actually owned by the Catholic Church.
So, okay,
So we own the Mount Pleasant Cemetery. It's at the end of Development Road. So a little back history is Calvin used
Gonna
to
say, I'm
own the
pretty sure that's Calvin.
township,
Yeah.
or used to own the cemetery, and then a group of people took over the
Actually, it was the
cemetery.
church that closed.
There you go.
that
There you
owned-
go.
It was the cemetery board that owned that cemetery. And then the people came to the council and said, we can no longer, we're all getting too old. We can't take care of it anymore. So what we're going to do is give it up, and it will probably go to Calvin, and Calvin would close it because it is in Calvin Township. Calvin has their own cemetery, a big one. I don't know if you know that one. So anyways, the council of the day agreed to take ownership to the cemetery, so that because there was nowhere else here in our community for anyone to be buried other than the Catholic Church cemetery. So the town council of the day took it over, and the people resigned from the board. There was no longer that board, and the township took ownership of it
Okay.
and has been maintaining it ever since. And I have to agree that I think it is a good thing, because for them to close it down, Calvin would have still had to maintain it.
right,
Even like the church in Northern Glen, the Anglican church, they have to maintain the cemetery. You can't close it down.
right.
So either way, somebody was going to have to maintain it. So it's a good thing
Mhm.
that
And what is the
people have
capacity
to rest.
of that cemetery? Like, are we 50, 70%?
We're probably around 50% full, yes. Oh, there's like an old portion of the cemetery and a new portion.
Go ahead, Donna. You need to turn
I
the TV.
think, I think that this is a great idea. Thanks, Anne, for even bringing it forward. But I think in my opinion, I think we should defer this to 2024 and plan for it in 2024. I think we're already stretched with money, and so I think your plan for 2024 is a great idea. We'll do a little bit more work, but for 2023, it's not absolutely not doable. I don't think so.
I just have a question. Is that something that we could see that, you know, people buy their plots ahead of time and they pay for them? Is this something that we could see us doing, that anybody that would be interested in that we would figure what it would cost, that we could have people reserve a spot there so that it's not money coming out of our budget?
I think there would have to be some contractual agreement,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah,
that
you
It's
can
the,
no different than this cemetery, right? You buy plots all the
Right.
time.
that
So,
they're there, right? Like the columbarium's not there, so
yeah,
Oh,
I just want
yeah,
to
we'd have
give
to be held.
reassurance to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
family, right?
But we
Well-
wouldn't have to, like, we could pre-sell the spaces even after we install it,
Correct,
Yes.
right? So, yeah, we can.
right,
Do we
short order.
pre-sell plots now?
yes.
Okay, and so
That could be Christmas gift.
people have an agreement with the township, Okay,
Right.
and then do we, so there's like a whole package involved in that though, is there not? They pay for it outright, and then are there annuities and things like that happens, or?
I don't think those annuities.
No,
No.
it's just, that's a flat fee and they get, you know, nothing. If the price goes up, we eat it. If the price goes down, we get to keep that.
Exactly.
kind of
Okay.
like the road work, Donna. You bought, if we would have done it last year, it would have been cheaper.
Well, it's kind of like they buy the lot and then they pay to be buried, which
An
can
open-
fluctuate.
Like an opening
Right.
fee, right?
Right,
Yeah.
so the property is,
Right. So in other institutions, if you prepay and they actually put the money in annuities, right? And so at the end, because it could be years before individuals pass. And so then at the end, whatever interest, there may be some extra that their family gets back.
oh,
So in the
Yeah.
Cemetery Act, it's not like that. So
Okay.
when you purchase a plot for cemetery, let's say it's $500, 250 is for the plot. That's the piece of land that you're purchasing. So that's the price, and that's always going to be the value. And there's rules on buybacks. If somebody wanted to buy back, they just get what they paid for it.
Yes,
There is
yes.
no fluctuation in that. The other 250 goes into what we call a care and maintenance fund. And that goes into an investment that you can't touch the principal on, but you can use the interest for the maintenance of the cemetery. And that's
Okay.
heavily regulated through the Cemetery Act.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think funeral homes have a different setup, right? Yeah, okay.
But in town, you can buy your space in the,
in the columbarium,
yeah, you can buy your space ahead of time.
Yeah.
And you pay for it.
yes,
Yeah.
You reserve it.
yes, you reserve.
So are we going for like revenue neutral, like?
That would be optimal.
Yeah.
Yes.
we need
But it's
make
gonna
money.
take a while.
I don't know about that because I've been approached by several families, honestly, and
Okay.
some of our generational families have opted to go somewhere else because we didn't have that service to
A
offer.
big family, Phil. How many, when you were looking at 10
I was just looking
spaces?
at one with 24
spaces. Yeah.
spaces. Yes,
Yeah,
I think with an expression of interest put out to the community, so we can get a
Yeah.
sense as we did this, we might then be able to say, we're comfortable to move forward with the 24 one instead of the 10 versus the, right?
Right.
Like we might,
pick the number that,
yeah,
right. And like I was explaining, it would be nice to start off with your center monument and then build from that if the need arises. And it's nice looking too. It's a nice piece of landscape within the cemetery.
and now that we still have a little bit of space we could work it.
Yes, there are
It
reserved
makes
spots
sense, right?
for it. Yes,
okay, so all of this conversation
It's
for
for next
deferral
year.
from next
Yeah.
year, but this is great.
we have a motion to defer
Yeah,
to
that's
get
fine.
it off of our old unfinished
Thanks.
business.
Thanks for
Area.
that, Ann.
Thanks.
Maybe just in one of the newsletters, go out to say what we're thinking
They got
about.
it yet?
No.
Okay.
If we could put it in one of the newsletters that we're thinking about that.
We can do a survey monkey.
We sure can.
Whatever that is.
It's a survey software. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's okay. Moved by Corbett, second by Paquette. Public Works Committee recommends to council to present information for budget purposes for the purchase of a columbarium for the Mount Pleasant Cemetery, and that the Public Works Manager will alert council if an opportunity to receive funding shall arise in this interim. All in favor?
Wait, but should we put 2024 in there?
It says
Is it-
2020.
Does it?
No.
No, I didn't hear 2024.
I mean, I meant it. I thought it.
The recommendations. that's it.
Yeah, I guess it's something budget.
On here it says.
What, you didn't believe, Dan?
For
Jason?
budget purposes, for the purchase of a columbarium.
In 2024.
Yeah.
mm,
I thought it.
Mhm.
In
Yeah, it
2024.
says it here.
All in favor? Carry.
Solar street lighting for the landfill. So we investigated through one company again, just to see what the cost would be. It took a very long time for a response to get back from the company. However, so they had given us a couple of quotes at $2,150 per light. And then you need the support, which I believe is the arm that comes out to hold the lighting up. And then we would also have to purchase the poles. And when we did the pole out here, it was 800 and change plus installation for the pole to be placed. So it's about $4,000 per light. I know that we've already had our budget discussions. That's why I was asking if we would move this into next year's discussion for the budget. Because I would have to figure out like how far does 20
Well,
watts
just say,
shine?
do we know what
Right.
20 watts covers? Like what,
Yes, exactly.
what aluminums we're
And the
getting?
landfill moves. So we would have our recycling area lit. But what do I do when the landfill keeps
But I think down,
moving,
as
right?
you go down the road,
Right.
you just
Make
buy,
a row.
well, you keep buying poles and you can take the
Oh.
light from one post to
We could
another.
put it in
as-
our operational budget.
Right, you can move the lights, right? I mean, you just put the poles up and move the lights as you need them.
Right.
For the cost, I would like to see this done for this year. I think this is a big win coming into the winter.
Yeah, so I guess my only other question is, so you see the lights that like a street crew will use if there's construction happening and they have to work around and they're built into some sort of a trailer and
Oh, it's a
yeah, the generator
Yeah,
light.
the stand.
Could we not investigate some option where a trailer would actually give you movable options? And I get it, like maybe we're installing a pole for $900, but if
A
we have to do-
porta light system, yeah.
yeah, like we have to do 7 poles. I mean, gosh, we bought a trailer at that point, right?
Right.
A really good. couple
And
of
those
trailers.
lights, you'd probably only need one because they really light.
Right, but even if it's solar lights that are mounted on a trailer, you know what I mean? Like if it's as long
And
as
you've got to,
we
you have to
solar,
have a place to store that safely too, right? Like that has
wouldn't would it
to,
not just stay within our locked landfill?
well, yeah, but make sure that it's not reachable, right?
Well,
They
you
usually
can
take the wheels off if
you
you
take the
notice on
wheels.
highways. Yeah.
Lock the tongue, there's,
Okay.
Take the tongue off.
but that's,
really
that's actually, that's a good idea. I mean,
Yeah.
make it portable, make our own, make it, or buy our own, make it portable. So we're not
So-
having a stationary lights.
So around October or so, like when does it get dark at 4 o'clock? Because that's kind of what this is our aim, right? When does it get dark?
November-ish.
Yeah,
Mid-November.
Yeah, around the time change. So that's kind of when we're looking to implement this, if we keep the Wednesday night open year round, right?
So would we then look at, like, we have that $56,000, which is, we were looking at putting, we could take half of that and probably do a pretty great light system.
I'll investigate all lighting
But
systems.
isn't that money allocated for roads because it's from gas tax and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's the north and the
It's-
gas
yeah,
tax
so you-
funding, so
you-
I'm not sure.
You can't flip it
Would
between the
have to.
two.
And I don't know if we have any from any other funds that are still left.
So I guess that's gonna be the other question is,
Yeah.
you know,
We'll look
it's either gonna have a tax implication. We would have to, if it's $20,000, it would be 0.75% more on our tax increase.
I could also look into, I don't know how long that the RPRA is still going to pay for
Right, improvements.
improvements for landfill. We wouldn't
Okay.
see it in this year, but we would see it the following year.
Yeah.
Because that money is 1 year behind in coming to
We
us.
could do it this year
And use
and
the
get
money.
reimbursed is the idea.
Right, it's not a full reimbursement, however, I would have to look into
Even if
that.
it's 50%. or
Right.
whatever
But there
it is.
has, yeah, I mean, you can get a trailer with a battery bank and you can, well, there's no power, there's no hydro at the, like I say, you can even plug it in to charge the batteries.
Mhm.
But
No,
And if we don't have enough time to do this year, because I would actually like to see a bit more of a report on options and movability and stuff. Listen, I heard it a ton from our citizens about that it doesn't make sense that our landfill closes. Then it made sense when you explained it's because there's no light.
yeah, no
But
hydro.
if we looked at 1 year of what do those lights cost to rent for 4 months, right? I mean, maybe that will get us through a year where it's like, yes, we're spending money on a diesel 1 night a week to run lights for 3 hours.
And then it's
portals.
somebody else's issue as well, right? We're not in charge of maintenance. Somebody else owns the equipment, so.
Yeah, at least until such point we can investigate more on I like the solar option light. That's
But I
very
think-
environmentally friendly.
And I
It's,
think the portables,
yeah,
perfect
yeah,
solution, instead
absolutely.
of buying all those poles.
But I'd like to make sure that we're giving you the time you need to come back with good recommendations on this. So if you could also explore the option of renting.
Since the
lights.
time is ticking.
Correct.
Right, November's not far.
Right.
I will do my best to provide this back to you for our next Public Works meeting.
Perfect. And in addition, at the same time, how much it would cost to rent?
Yes,
Well,
Like
1
every
or 2
option.
units. And quite frankly, if we need to say to the citizen, listen, it's for like garbage, like we would probably need, I don't know how big of a berth those lights would give.
Though
Maybe there wouldn't be recycling on the Wednesday nights. Maybe it would just be garbage, or
yeah,
maybe,
true that.
right? We could figure that out.
Well,
If we can get 2.
the ones you rent, that'll give you enough light berth to cover recycling, if you put it up top there, because you can,
angle the lights.
and you can raise them high, right?
Yeah.
And right now, the landfill's close to the recycling, so.
Right. And just to also mention that in the winter, we do try to move the landfill face closer to where we plow less.
Oh, that's good. So
Right.
the berth would have to be less.
Right.
Yeah, good.
We had multiple contacts for solar lights.
Yes, and then we lost a couple along the way in our emails
Because-
because there was no response from those suppliers.
Because we had one that did Toronto Zoo for their parking lots and for
Right.
their walkways. And then this one was the one that we found at the trade show.
Right. So we will keep it on our unfinished business instead of presenting the motion. Is that okay?
And just to the CEO, how does this tie into our budget timing and planning?
So our budget is going to be presented on the 25th, so I don't believe we'll have a reply on what this is gonna look like. So it might mean that we're just looking at what can we do with the budget, and maybe there's something that we have planned in operations that maybe we don't need to.
Well,
Or we look at all the other funding opportunities.
yeah, and I think pretty quickly we can get the cost on renting something
Yeah, I
and
was gonna say
building that into
that.
this budget. And then that's our worst case scenario. We are opening the dump this winter, the landfill. this winter on the Wednesdays, because we know that that's at least our option, and we can build that into the budget for that rental fee, right? Or consideration. as part
And
of
the
budget.
labor costs and look, there's a lot of the different things that we have to look at if we want to implement.
Yeah.
Sure, of course.
It's 3
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't see, like, the biggest thing would be, do you go take it back and go get it every week, or for the light? You know, and that's the biggest.
Yeah, because you're
headache.
renting it for
A day.
the whole
or-
time for the 3 hours.
Yeah, but I,
Right.
like, you could get rented for the day, and then someone's just gotta go back, get it and take it back.
I would also think that rental companies might be actually work, because it's not construction season.
No.
So I'm sure they're not really interested in coming to pick up their equipment every.
Right, and they
every
might,
single-
they might leave it sit there for the winter.
Right. However, I've seen them laying asphalt in Sudbury in winter.
Yeah, but I mean, not
Also, I think that this will, if we rent, this will give us some usage data, right? Because if no one's coming on the Wednesday, then, you know, like, so this is our pilot. So we'll see what the uptake is and, you know, really how useful is it to keep it open on Wednesdays in the wintertime?
And and for me, I'd like,
Like, is it more beneficial to be open for 4 hours on a Sunday in the daylight?
a Saturday and a Sunday, you know?
Right.
no, I think midweek is,
I see what you're saying. It gets dark at 6.
It gets dark at 5 o'clock,
4:30.
4:30.
Yeah, of course.
I just like to see consistent hours year round. I have some people that have come to me and they're like, I work every single weekend. So like I
Yeah.
can't get there on a weekend. So it
Right.
wouldn't matter whether we're open every Saturday and Sunday. If they work on weekends, they work on weekends.
That's right.
I'd like to see it consistent throughout the year.
Yeah,
Yes,
I would too. I agree with you, Steve. Also, people go away on the weekend, right? They're busy. It's probably more convenient after work to take a run to the landfill on a Wednesday. What are you
Right.
laughing at?
I just said only some go away all the time.
So, yeah, and I guess before we commit to anything, I would really like to see the numbers presented back, because I mean, if it's $30,000 for rental men are like plus labor costs, like, well,
Right.
hang on, like we'll have to weigh that out amongst everything else too, right? So,
Okay. We got it.
doable?
We'll try.
We're trying
we're
not
doing it
to-
all.
Yeah, absolutely. I apologize. You have to also be honest with council
Yeah.
when it's not doable, right? Like if we're actually asking for too much, like that's a communication that I would hope would come back, because we're trying to be reasonable, I think. Like, I
We
mean,
always get it to you.
Okay.
There is no promise it'll be in this year's budget because the budget needs to be done by Friday.
But we can put a placeholder dollar value in there. If we don't spend
If
it in the
there's
budget,
something.
then that's not a terrible thing.
No. I think
Right,
it's not.
so at least the rental fee plus a quick calculation of what the 4 months of labor costs would be.
And, you know, I would think that rental companies might just, like I said, charge you for the usage off the hour meter on it
Mhm.
and leave it there all winter.
Especially if we actually, as long as we have it available on the Wednesdays, if they need to come and get it on a Thursday because they've rented.
Cause you know
They
those,
can have
you
it.
know those
It doesn't
rental
matter.
companies, they rent excavators too, so
Okay,
you just talk nicely.
Okay, very well then. When is our public works meeting now? Oh, yes, I'm not on holidays. That's for the council meeting that we asked the council.
We're
that
gonna
we're
start
on.
calling
Well, I have a
Donna.
feeling it's gonna actually come back to all of council before it comes back through the Public Works Committee.
Well, we have a
From
meeting
planning
on the
perspective.
2nd and the next meeting is on the 26th and then there's no council meeting the week after.
But the
that.
26th is before the 2nd, so I'm just saying, I think the information is gonna have to come back.
We're
council.
talking 26th of July and August 2nd, right?
You're only gonna have the rental information.
Yeah, and
for the-
that's
for the
fine.
25th.
No,
At
that's
least it
fine.
allows us to make a decision
Okay.
whether we'll want it, something in the budget this year, or if it's so outlandish that we're like, yeah, okay, hang on.
Okay.
Right?
And like I
Okay.
said, then
That's next week.
Manager Carr could say, we also need an excavator for however long.
You
Say
can
we
throw
buy
it.
the excavator.
We'll rent the excavator, can you throw the lights in for the winter?
Yeah.
Yeah, there, say it out loud, Dan, there it is. Yeah.
Okay. So the manager's report. It's been busy, like we did explain that we've like cold patched seriously for a month straight. Thank goodness we got our students because that really helped us get everything patched up. We have the contractor coming in to fix the issues with the splash pad. The people that came and inspected is not the boss, however, so I have not heard back from
I'm
them
gonna
yet.
say, what is the solution?
The solution from the people on the ground is that they're going to put a cement around the edge, like 6-8 inches of cement around the edge and angle it into the splash pad. So then it captures the water and pushes it down into the drain system. So it
Which
can't
is
go.
what they should have done initially, correct? Like it looked like they almost have it the opposite, and the water is flowing off of the splash pad rather than flowing into the drain.
Right,
Right.
or slope the concrete the right way the first time.
Right.
So, and listen, I'm not an engineer, but if the water is currently trying to flow out, which
Right.
it is, and we put curbing, like gently
Yeah.
sloped curbing, are we not creating a pool?
No,
They're
there's
gonna have a
drains
drain
in it.
there. They're gonna put the drain,
Yeah.
more drains in there.
And where do those drains drain? So I am
Drains
married
into the
to
lake.
an engineer, so
It's the drains into the lake, and we had permitting from the Conservation Authority.
Now,
So
how is
it
the
drains
curbing?
into the lake?
Yes, it does.
It's just well water.
It's well water.
No, I don't, that's not what my confusion is that if it drained into the lake, why was the park being flooded then?
Because
Because of the
the
slope?
concrete's, yeah, the
Right.
concrete sloped the wrong way.
Okay.
There's a mistake there. So
Okay,
this is their way to fix it.
and so that for sure is going to utilize the drain right to the lake.
Right, so they're going to put other drainage into this 8-inch tile that goes around the edge that connects into the main drain that goes to the lake.
So it'll
Which
capture
sounds
the-
like major work. That's major work, right?
They're talking about a week to get it done.
At no cost to us.
To no cost, no.
Okay.
And did we pay for the exercise equipment already as well?
Yes,
All of it?
and that should be done by the 30th of July. However, we did some test hole digging and the bedrock is 10 feet down. We hit topsoil at like 8 feet.
So
So we're investigating just getting the piers vac trucked out. You set in your sonotube, get your piers built, and then the pad just gets placed as it would have before
with all the features that were.
with all the features.
No change to budget.
Change to budget would be that we're going to have to pay for that back truck.
So when the equipment was coming before, was there no excavation in that?
There was excavation for a small excavation just to place the pad itself. The cement pad to place all the exercise equipment on it. And then the sunshade was purchased afterwards. And then when everybody got here to put everything into place, that's when it was discovered that we're not on virgin ground.
Can we relocate?
There really is nowhere to put it. It's all the same down here. It's
It's all
all
filled
been
in.
backfilled.
So what is
Including
the
the attic?
estimated extra amount?
I'm getting there. We're in the process of finding that out.
Is the island virgin ground?
It would take a lot of your island.
Oh. I would imagine bedrock is pretty close there.
Yeah.
How much of the island? How many square feet are we talking this?
I would have to go out. This thing is
Then
30
permitting
by
would probably-
70.
Well, that was like the one we did.
Permitting would be a nightmare on that.
Actual.
Anything.
Yeah, I mean, a vac truck's not cheap. It's probably running 400 bucks.
$285 an hour.
I'm gonna say 400 because it
So
used to
far,
be,
what I've heard.
yeah, no, it
Of
used to
course
be,
we have, so-
it used to be 285 and it's probably gone up like everything else. But anyways,
Right. So that's where we are in the process.
I'm still calling for quotes. so.
Yeah. We're in the process.
Okay.
Go ahead, Donna.
So I just have an overall question about the whole report.
Yes.
And so if you could maybe provide a little more detail in the report. So when you say prepare the grounds for Canada Day, what does that mean?
So that means we cut all the grass, whippersnipped all the grass.
And do you not normally do that?
Yes, we do, but we till everything. We have to wash the rink floor. We put all the backer board, we call it, all the rubber that goes underneath the rink. So to ensure that if it rains that day, that no water gets in, because that backer board is actually there to hold water in the rink, not to hold water out of the rink. We have to get all the ducks counted. We bag the ducks so that they're all by number and ensure that there's a fair lottery with the duck race. We put the duck fence, the finish line in for that. And this year we had extra because we did all the park benches. We prepared all the forms. We mixed all the cement. We poured all the cement, installed all the benches to make sure they were ready for Canada Day. We built doors on the change room for the splash pad, installed the doors, tried to grow grass seed. Yes, sir.
Decoration.
Fair enough. Appreciate all that. And maybe it's minor, but like honestly, you're talking about counting the ducks and making sure they're fair in the lottery. Is that not a Lions Club fundraiser?
It's 1 year. Has always been our job, I guess.
Okay, and listen, I appreciate all the great work the Lions Club's doing, so I'm not going to start nitpicking that. But it's just like, how many hours is that taking our staff to do?
Only half a day.
Half a day for how many crew members?
1.
Oh, okay. If you told me everybody, I'd be like,
And I
oh,
look
hang
at-
on. Sure,
Half a day for 1.
Okay.
So it would be helpful if, and I know that the work plan is coming, but I mean, how this is from when to when. So like, when I see this, and I do know that you are busy, and that I know previously, because you were wearing a few other hats, there was probably more administrative work and stuff to do. So now that we have a CAO that, probably has eased that up a bit. So if we could, just to understand, maybe where you're spending a lot of your time. Because I don't is this from March to July 19th? Is it from the last meeting to now, or it's just?
Yeah, generally that's right. So it's last meeting to the next meeting. And sure, I can put more detail. Usually at this part, I discuss everything with the committee. So that's why it's kind of in point form.
Yeah.
Right. And so
Yeah.
I guess what I'm looking for, sorry, Jason, what I'm looking for is hopefully we're going to be moving to some KPIs. And so you need to develop maybe some metrics. So, we know how many acres of grass that we have to cut and how long it takes for them. So these are all metrics, right? So how many acres, how long it takes for an acre, how many staff it is for one. So then we can put the formulas in and we can actually get a KPI and then place a dollar amount so that our taxpayers know what value it is that they're getting.
So we use a program called Citywide, and all the work orders are in there, which indicate how much people are being used, what they're doing.
Oh, excellent. And so you
Right,
can
so-
generate reports from this?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So that's half the work done. That's awesome. Because I mean, the same would apply to snow removal, to ditching, to almost everything, right?
Right.
Okay, great. So we can start pumping out some KPIs then.
Correct.
And that software would then translate into how many FTEs you need to cut
Correct.
down.
Well, it does,
And
but am I at the level of service that you wish?
that's the question that we're
Right.
gonna ask, right? So
Right.
we will say, how many hours does it take to cut all the grass? Then we can then We can
I
say,
should have brought
how
the
many
other
days in
report.
between do we
Yeah.
want? That is gonna dictate how many FTEs we need working on the ground.
Exactly, and then we can do evidence-based budgeting, right? So then,
Right.
you know, we kind of know where our money's going to. We know if you need more support, right? And like if it's, you know, taking too long, then what is the problem? If there's too much overtime, do we need more staff? Where are we heavy in labor? So I think that would be really helpful. I also
So
really
you want that in
appreciate-
here?
Or I don't know, maybe it's, I'm going to leave that to CAO Kunkel there. You can figure out how we get those reports, but I think that it would certainly help me, especially around budget time and you know, to see where we're spending, because you are the biggest portion of the budget. Public Works is the biggest portion of the budget. So it would just solidify that we are using the funds wisely. Also want to
Okay.
say that I love that you smile every time that you come in, Anne, and that you have a positive attitude. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
So I have two things. One is I would, until we get, and it's gonna take some time to develop KPIs and do all that, but until such time, I would actually just suggest, take time to brag more in this report. So when you talk about cold patch, tell us how, like, take the opportunity on paper to say how many tons of cold patch you did, or calcium completed, how many kilometers. Like those are, it's, we're not asking for a ton, but like just that level of detail. And so then we can say, oh cow, that's amazing, right? And I get you're gonna tell us that kind of stuff, but even if it was just like a small little tidbit of background information on it would be super helpful from my
Okay.
perspective. I'm not asking for full report on calcium completed and all
Well,
of
we
the
do
calcium
keep a
language
logbook
and-
as well at the shop.
Yeah.
So we write down in our logbook, like what happens every single day.
Yeah, so if you just added up how many kilometers of calcium you got to apply it, or however you measure the calcium,
Mhm.
and your cold patch, I know you do that by how many tons of cold patch you had to apply. That's amazing, right?
Right.
So, and or kilometers of road that you cold patch or whatever metric you use. So
Yeah.
that, and on a bit of a side note, Avery is working with the soccer clinic over here, and she just sent me a text message and said, "Have you seen the soccer nets anywhere? They were somewhere, and with the Christmas stuff apparently now they're gone."
They're on the field, I thought.
Like the nets for the big ones.
Oh, that was hockey nets.
Oh, mesh.
Oh, the
They're
mesh.
talking about the mesh for the
They're not on the,
full-size soccer.
they were there like a
Yes.
couple weeks ago on the pole.
Not on. Okay, sorry, I don't mean to derail the meeting, but I'm like, well,
Like
this is
on
the
the
exact
post.
meeting and ask it in.
They were on the post.
Okay,
Okay.
Unless
moving
someone
on.
went fishing.
I'm just gonna give my kid your number. She
Okay.
can-
Yeah, so we also revamped the landfill, which also took a few days, 3-ish. 2 staff, 3 staff. And it was a wise move, actually.
It flows a lot better.
Yes, and it's helpful for also the contractor that comes in with his truck. And he can pull right up onto the landing there when there's no one there, obviously, and get rid of his recycling material as well. And I think the public is appreciating it. I've been at the landfill every day since July 1st, so when it's open. I actually was there again this evening before coming here. And I think the general public is also liking it as well. Our public has been amazing. If you physically go in and see the landfill after a night of it being open, you can see that it's like 20% maybe black bags. So it has been astounding.
Yeah.
However, I think we caught up to the amount that we're getting in. I think there was many factors that played that game. Everybody started recycling. We were closed a day, no fires, no. So I think we're okay again. I'll know better tonight because we kind of wanted to panic, but we're restricted by our finances. I just want to let you know that every time a bin leaves the landfill, it's $250. So we try to make sure that it's full when it leaves the landfill, not 3/4 full. So it's kind of a little game we also have to play
We'll get
to
that
get
back.
there. But I think we're
eventually.
doing well. Like, I think we'll see tonight how it goes.
We'll get that feedback eventually with our tonnage, no?
Yes. So like I said, since this is the first month, we track our tonnage. So because we have to report to RPRA on that tonnage. But we haven't had a full month yet. So at our next Public Works meeting, I can provide a report on the tonnage differences or similarities that we had during July.
What does the steel generate for us?
Well, it's scrap tin. You know, it goes up and down like a
Yeah, but
yo-yo.
it's still.
I would have to get back to you honestly on that.
And I see construction materials still in with the household.
Right,
garbage.
so we've never said we were putting it anywhere else
Well, we need.
because
to-
we don't have a budget to grind it.
Well,
So where are we going to put it? It can't be burnt.
no, but we need the, construction material needs to come away from household garbage. Because we are gonna grind.
So are we burying it?
No, we are gonna grind.
So can we
Right,
just find a section for it to put it away until we are ready to grind? Is
But
that,
close to the landfill because it's gonna get used as cover,
okay?
the face.
Okay, so a couple of questions. How much does it cost to grind? What do we need and what does that look like? Because I don't even know.
You'll be about 20 grand. The guy comes in, depends on how big your pile, but let's just say 15 to 20 grand. And then it's a big grinder and he feeds it with an excavator and it just mulches all the bulk. Takes all the bulk out of your landfill. And then it just shreds up into fines.
And the ROI on that is extends the life of the
Right.
landfill by.
Absolutely.
So would we see
Exponentially.
that, and we would see that reflected in the next report we get, because we got the surprise in the most recent report of how quickly our landfill was coming to an end. Would we see it then potentially, because they would just look at the rate.
Well,
of-
now they're gonna, I think you're getting grade shot on the landfills now.
Yes, we're trying to get that done. Once
So
we have a budget
just you take,
We're working on it.
you
Yes.
you eliminate, next time you go in there and look at all the construction and big plastics and stuff like that, like it just takes all that, you're not burying it, right?
No, I
And
I
so
get it. I would
you-
just be interested in.
The landfill's all about your airspace.
Right.
So if we're grinding it down to next to nothing, a third, so you take the pile, it would be huge, and then you've got about a third of that.
Right. And our hope.
And we
is
don't have
we-
a machine to pull it on to the
And can somebody
You don't need-
remind
They
me,
come with it.
can somebody remind me how many years left we currently?
54.
54. So we would hope to see in our next that we went from 54 based on how quickly we're going to, all of a sudden we have 74 because, or whatever.
Well,
that-
yeah, we won't be subtracting, like instead of using up 5 years with all bulk construction in there, we use it just a year.
Right. And that would be the return on investment for me, right? So
Right.
obviously that, like in the business case of, okay, if it's gonna cost us 20 grand a year to grind, the municipality is gonna make it up. by-
Years of
And
landfill.
that's, I'm okay with that. That's investing in the future. It's
Right.
Good. Like I'm fine with that. I just needed to.
It's just so much bulk, that's
So what goes in this pile? Wood,
everything outside of household garbage,
couches,
couches,
insulation.
insulation,
windows,
mattresses, wood,
How does nothing fly out of there? Because that's part of the MOE
out
regulation,
of fly out of where?
out of that pile. Because it's not buried.
Well, so it's your shred pile. I mean, it's heavy, it's typically heavy. And it's being buried with heavy stuff. Even if there's insulation there, it's gonna be covered with heavier stuff.
And you
get wet
shred
pretty quick.
yearly,
Yes,
once a year in the spring,
fall, I do in
in
the
the
fall.
fall.
And you use that over top of your landfill.
So not this fall.
Won't be
Right,
this
because it's
fall,
not
but
in
next
this
fall.
budget,
Right.
because we
So-
increased the
But you start-
recycling.
Start your pile. But you'll have to, because we don't have an excavator or something to keep pushing it up. We'll have to
Right.
pick a wise spot so you can.
So
You'll
then
have
we're
room.
pushing it away from the landfill face.
Then we have a
need
burn
more
pile
lights.
as well, no?
Yeah.
For wood,
Well, what do you put? Is it just brushing the burn pile?
It can be clean wood.
Clean wood,
It
yeah,
can't be painted.
or pressure treat.
Yes,
Has to be
because when we
clean.
burn it, it goes into the atmosphere, right?
Non-painted, non-pressure treated wood probably makes up 3% of the wood that everybody.
Well, it's usually
has.
skids or we
Yeah.
often pull what's not supposed to be in there. We get a surprise
It's
inspection.
brush. is what goes.
So the main concern with this is not only saving the lifespan of the landfill, but also getting like nails and screws.
Well, it
and
gets it out
crap
of
like
the,
that
so,
away from
right, away,
people's vehicles.
right.
How much does a grinder cost?
Crazy money. We talked about
Like,
that
are you
before.
talking a new, like to buy one or to rent one?
From Gov Deals, how much is a grinder?
No, we're not buying one. They're high maintenance and they're expensive.
I love that. Well, we were at a conference and Donna discovered Gov Deals. Now
Oh,
everything
just
should come
wait.
from
I'm
Gov
not
Deals.
done my manager's report yet.
Yeah, we're gonna sell everything on Gov Deals too.
So am I making a motion that I'm making a pile to go to the next council meeting?
Yes.
Yeah,
So that ties you to getting it ground next year.
we get it.
Okay.
And or it ties
Because
us
it's
to
gonna
having to
be-
relocate
it's gonna
that
look
pile
terrible.
back into.
It needs to happen.
Oh,
I mean,
Can you not do it like, well, you want it close though, so you're not trucking it.
well,
over.
because you want to push on top of your, or you can put it somewhere else and grind it on the other side.
Right, but we want to not plow lots, right?
So
We'll have to think.
I'll leave the
about where to
logistics to
place
you.
it.
yeah, for sure. So I do want to think this through from a logistics standpoint. So from a change management standpoint, we've just made a big change to our
Yes.
landfill. We're just getting our residents used to that. So fair enough. But if all of a sudden it's like we're adding this and I didn't understand the extent of everything that goes there, which sounds awesome. But I'm like, are we ready? Are our citizens ready for that? And or do we actually plot this out a little bit? Right?
Let's educate to the new year,
Absolutely.
and then we start in the new year.
And I'm fine with that. I think it just gives us more time. We've already asked the public works manager for, I think, 2 reports in the next 6 weeks.
Yeah,
So I think
it's on the radar. We've been
Yeah,
asking for this for
we do want to see, but let's maybe work on that. I would say let's work on it over the
landfill. I
winter.
mean, so yeah, 20 grand sounds like a lot, but what's a new landfill worth?
Well, by the
millions.
time, let's not forget how deep we are into this budgetary cycle. Our next budget cycle is not that far away.
Right.
So if we
Right.
start it for the next budgetary cycle,
Why doesn't it all get shredded? Why doesn't a bag of garbage get shredded?
Because then you have to cover your landfill. Like you just can't have it there for a whole year.
You can't have it you have to cover your
chicken breasts
landfill,
can't be sitting there rotten.
Yeah.
right?
But,
So bears get into it.
but I mean,
Like
it
all
would-
those.
Would not be cost effective to
No,
dig it
I
out.
mean,
shred it, and bury it,
no.
whatever.
no shred. I mean, shred is to take the bulk out of your
Mhm.
airspace, right? That's solely what it's for.
Mhm.
Because it chews up a lot of space.
Because I think in about a month, we'll be starting the next budget process,
Yes.
right? So,
So we can build this in
Yeah.
and it'll, that yet again, we'll get through this summer, maybe even part of the winter cycle before we're like, okay, we're ready to do this. Then it's an education process,
Right.
but we will have gone the bulk of most of a year
Right.
with this piece of a change management.
And we,
process.
yeah, maybe we just bring it to councils to put it on the radar for 2024.
Absolutely.
and also, oh, I just lost my train of
That was your smartest point all night. It's gone.
thought. Oh, and also, the tipping fees bylaw, that part, the retention. The tipping fees are to be renewed next year as well.
So perfect.
Right, so it ties in if we do that, where we can look at how much it costs
Cost, right.
and how
See?
much we
This
increase
is
our
all part of
fees.
the.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome.
but,
Okay.
and you need to associate, yeah, the right cost to the shredding, like. I think.
yes, like we do have very comparable tipping fees, but perhaps we could be charging different fees for other items that goes to the shredding pile.
Right,
Right,
because typically, basically, you just want to see household garbage
yeah,
at the place and every bulk items to be shredded.
That's great.
I do want to mention something about governmentdeals.com.
Oh. What are we buying? What are we buying?
Right now.
No, we're not buying, we're
She's
selling.
shopping at the moment.
Oh, the Zamboni. Are we selling the Zamboni?
I don't think we're going to. I would like not to.
Why? We
Don't
don't
you think
use
we
it.
can use it?
Yes, I think I have someone that's gonna come down here and give us a whole way to use it.
Okay.
Well,
For
don't we
free.
have a way to get it into the ice rink now?
We'll figure it out, Donna.
Okay.
But I just want to mention that on the council meeting agenda, because I had totally forgotten about it. that on the council meeting agenda, I do have a motion coming forward to count the 3-ton, the old grader, and we had a 1980 Ford Case International tractor that used to sit in here. I've asked that it be counted as surplus and put on govdeals.com for
How much? I'll
sale.
give you $100 for it.
Well, you're gonna have to go to Gov Deals. and
You gotta
bid on
go
it.
to the auction. Yes. Okay. Everybody happy?
We're selling a 1984 tractor.
1984. It's got no four-wheel drive.
How many
And honestly, it's old enough that it doesn't say International Harvester. It just says International. It doesn't, I don't even think it says case
We're
on
gonna
it.
sell
What
it as a
horsepower?
collector's item.
I would have to let you know, because it took me that long to find out what year by running the VIN number, because there's no ownership.
Well, there's no ownership on tractors.
Okay, because as a municipality, like, are you kidding? We lost a
No.
piece of paper
There's no ownership, there's no ownership on tractors.
since 1984.
Cool. All right,
We do have one last discussion about the recycling program, and we do have a motion. Just because everybody's kind of all over the place about when we're done our soft opening implementation, just so we have proper direction to our
That's
staff
fair.
and proper direction to our public.
We get it. We've put out a few different
Okay.
dates. Pass the motion, we'll figure it out.
In the bylaw.
Slapping our hand, fair enough. We take it.
I'm being
Yeah.
Chris hands turn to slap.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not
that's fair.
slapping.
No, you did it great.
But in the motion, you will notice that we did add the $5 bag. I was kind of under the impression when we wrote the bylaw that we were going to have time to go into our imposition and fees bylaw this year. However, I don't really foresee that happening this
So-
year.
Yeah, if they come with a black bag, don't you just make them open at the face?
If you charge them $5, they won't bring a back bag.
But if you ask them to open up the garbage, you're probably not gonna bring a black bag the next time either.
Right, so there's a specific spot in the bylaw that says fees will be imposed to black bags, recycling entering the landfill. And then the other fees that we normally would charge, like your mattresses, et cetera, et cetera. But because those are two new fees, they're not in our fees
So you
bylaw,
can't charge for them. Yeah.
right? Unless we put a motion through to do such.
I thought our messaging all along was use your black bags, even if it's well past the deadline. But there's gonna be a point in time where we're gonna ask you to rip your bag open and sort your recycling if you have recycling in your black bag.
But I think that if we keep it going, then it's gonna go on in perpetuity. I think we need a hard date. Is that what you're asking for, Ann? Is a hard date?
A hard date, and like if you choose to keep bringing a black bag to the landfill, it's going to be $5
Yeah.
to put it in the landfill.
And then we need a threshold, because if they open up their bag and there's 10% of recycling in their bag, then that's no biggie. But if it's 50% recycling, then that's a biggie, right? So we need some
Right.
kind of threshold.
When is our fees bylaw up for renewal?
The one for the landfill itself, the schedule to the bylaw for the fees for the landfill is finished July 1st, 2024.
So could we not say that as of September 30th, whatever, our staff, and we'll pick that date together, our staff are gonna then ask residents that bring a black bag, you have to open it. Yeah, like all of that. And then with the understanding that come July, whenever we do our fees, we can then talk about adding in a fee, but at that point, people should have used all of their black garbage bags, I
Yes,
would
you
like
would
to
think.
think, right? So
Well, you're
this is
giving
giving-
them a year? You're giving them a year?
No, come September, they have to start opening their black bag. They can still bring a black bag with them, but they have to open it and dump it so that it can be visibly seen that there is no recycling in it. And then in a year from now, like it's a $5 fee for a black bag.
Well, currently our fee, if you go over your bag
100 and-
limit,
Yeah.
it's $3 a bag
Right.
after that, because it's about deterring
Mhm.
people from going over their bag limit, from continuing the same practices.
Yeah,
Well,
and I
well,
think that if we got, sorry, Steve, go ahead.
Sorry, go Donna.
Well, I think if we've got this bylaw, we're moving to clear bags, then we should move to clear bags. We have a cutoff date. And then, yes, if they do bring a black bag, they do have to open it. What happens if it's full of recycling? Are they picking it up in their garbage and taking it over to recycling? Is that the expectation?
And then we have to have staff members there watching them still.
Yes. So I think the whole point of this is to discourage black bags, correct?
Right, and like, if you put it this way, like, if we had garbage pickup and recycling pickup, and you chose not to put your garbage in the clear bag, it would remain on the curb,
Correct.
Right.
right? They would not take it.
Is that how it's gonna work with the guy that does?
Yeah, his actually has to be sorted for him to take it. They have to put their recycling, the people that have him as a contractor, they have to sort it for him. So it has to be all sorted as well.
I definitely remember when we were bringing this forward, like meeting 1 or meeting 2, that we were gonna have a bit of a soft opening, knowing that, a soft date. But knowing that you could use a black bag forever, eventually you're just gonna be told to rip it apart and pull your recycling if you have recycling in your black bag.
In the bylaw, it says that there was a fee.
So I remember that too. And I remember having the conversation. I can't remember what we landed on because I don't know that any of us truly remember what we landed on because we went from September 30th to December to like,
Yeah.
we went all over the place. So
Yeah.
I think our recollections are kind of all over the place. So I don't love the $5 fee, but I get it. Because it's going to cost me probably a lot more in staffing to police the
black bag opening.
Right.
Yeah, there needs to be a hard.
How about the $3 fee that we would also impose if you had too many bags over your limit?
Oh, well, sure. I actually don't even care if it's $10 versus $5. It's more the principle of charging for it, right? Like it's if we're going to cross that threshold, we'll figure out what the
Do
happy.
we know what other municipalities are doing with this, with a clear bag policy?
We're one of the first.
Well,
Ask Dan.
Yeah, if you come into our landfill, you rip it open.
But do you have a clear bag policy, Dan?
Yeah, we've had one for 5-6 years, even longer.
And I believe also Chisholm.
Yeah, Chisholm has one too. I mean, there's no fee, but you're asked to go and rip and if there's recycling, you're to pick it and put it in the right spot.
And people comply? There's compliance?
We rarely get black garbage bags. It's been implemented for so long, like there's rarely is there a black garbage bag.
So in the motion, it says September 30th. Just can we open it up? Is September 30th a long enough runway? Do we feel that's fair for?
75% of people are in compliance already.
Right.
We've advertised it, we've sent out flyers, we've handed out flyers. I think people know what's coming at this point.
Yeah.
And like the staff
That's
is
still
free,
Yeah, staff's done a great
you
job.
know,
of
like
telling
just
people.
Keith Stream
And it's
saying.
still, that's still a couple months.
So your worship, I know that you've heard some feedback on dates. What are your thoughts?
I did speak to someone last night and he was very much in favor of the clear garbage bags and the recycling. And I think, and just in the discussion, generally people are complying, and I think they're happy to see what's happening. And I feel the same way. I really don't think people will deliberately bring in black garbage bags. I think they're aware of what we want to do and what we hope to accomplish. And I'm just going to ask the question, if they come with a black garbage bag and they have to pay $5 fee off the bat, is that what you're saying here?
At the end of the soft opening.
Yeah.
If
Well,
council feels that they could just, or sorry, I keep forgetting what committee I'm in. Right.
Doesn't matter.
If the committee feels that opening your bag at the face is enough, then that's what the wishes are.
Yeah, I mean.
Right,
how
these
do
are
you
your
stop the
decisions.
Repeat offenders, that's the only thing.
So
Right.
yeah,
Mm.
I think you're right, Dan. I think we don't, so you don't charge a fee, right?
No,
No. So I think that they're bringing it, that might be enough just for them to open it and, I mean, can we review it if it's chronic?
right. I mean, I guess that would be the question to the staff. How bad is it? How, after September 30th?
Right, could visit it again
Let's do it that
if
way.
it's not working well.
September.
But I think we need 6 months. We need a 6-month period to see what's happening from now and in 6
I was
months.
gonna give it 3, like if September
3 months.
30th, we start
3
making
months.
people, if September 30th, we start making people rip open their bags. Gosh, if they're still happy ripping and opening their bags by November even, well, chances are they're gonna rip open their black garbage bags forever because they don't care. So then we can revisit. But ultimately, I would think the first couple of times you have somebody rip open their bag at the garbage, you're like, I think I'll switch to clear, right?
Yeah.
Right, because especially in the summertime when it's all ooey and gooey.
Right.
But I mean, you could talk to staff after and see after September 30th, if we use that date and see like, is there still lots of black garbage bags or what's?
Because I go in personally, I go in the day after a landfill shift and I just do a quick view over. You can see, I can see all the clear and then you can see some of the black bags.
It's not even just the color of the bags, what's in the bags.
That as well, right?
Because I'm seeing a lot of clear bags that are full of beer cans that are in.
Yeah,
landfill.
I mean,
You need some at the face.
yeah, I mean, I think
We're
Bonfield,
gonna need somebody at the face regardless.
yeah,
Well, and that's
Isn't that the reason for the clear bags, is so that we can see? So if they do have recycling in the clear bag, then that's part of the education to say you can't throw that. That's the whole purpose of the
I
clear
think the
bag.
biggest thing, the person at the gate needs to be kind of taking a quick examine of
Yes, and they
the.
know
the
that you're
bags.
the inspector,
Right,
right? That's
But
what
I
your
just-
job is, inspecting the load.
But
I'm not
these-
like saying get into people's vehicles.
no,
or
but I
anything.
mean, you could take a quick look, you can see a lot of recycling, I mean,
Yes,
But do they
At least-
do they have to leave the shack to do that?
they would just they can't really leave the area.
No, but to come
They come
outside.
out, yes, come out.
Well,
I'm
I
just gonna
mean,
check it
I think from
out.
a staff point of view, that's almost unfair to the staff. If they're taking the cards at the gate and they say, oh, that's a clear bag with a ton of recycling, you can't put that in the landfill, you have to put it in the recycling, and then the guy drives a kilometer away, how are you enforcing it at the gate? We need to pay somebody
at the face,
to
Yeah.
be
for
at
a
the-
while, I agree.
At least.
It's
for
not
change
whoever's at the gate, that's unfair to them.
I mean, we got somebody at the recycling, but I mean, I think people are getting the recycling thing very well.
Yeah, they're starting to you
Well
can tell like that
signed,
night when I was
well-
there bagging with
So I
everything.
think maybe
You can see like some people really did not know.
Maybe we just,
I think the person at the recycling goes over to the face for a while.
I think people, if they're bringing, even if they do bring black garbage bags, I think I'm gonna say if we're myself, if I'm coming and I'm aware that I might have to pay $5 if I've got recycling in that black garbage bag. If I'm asked do I have recycling in there? I'm gonna not have recycling in there because you'll have to pay for it. And if the people are figuring that we're going to be asked and we might have to open these bags, it's gonna make them more aware. And if they have to use up their black garbage bag, but if there is the concern that you may be asked, do you have recycling in there? Oh, well, just wait, I'm gonna check. You'll have to check your bag. Well, I think people will be a lot more aware and a lot more careful not to put any recycling. But I think it's just a matter of using up the black garbage bags that they have. And I'm not sure what the date is, but it's not to put anybody in a big panic.
No,
Well,
We just want it
I
to
think
work.
September 30th
Yeah.
is fair.
But none of this works unless we support the landfill and put the staff in.
Because
Right? So currently you have 2 staff on the side.
right. So
We had
the
3
person in
last time.
recycling is there for a purpose, like making sure that the cardboard gets tucked back in, making sure the plastic
I
cans,
know for a
ensuring
fact-
that it's clean recycling.
If whoever is working the recycling bins leaves, I know for a fact people are throwing paper in with cardboard, cardboard in with paper, whatever. Sometimes the very first car, and then it takes man hours to like separate all that, right?
Mhm.
So we almost need to approve somebody at the recycling, somebody at the dump station, like whatever kitchen, yeah. And somebody else taking the cards at the place. We almost need 3 staff.
Is our cards able to be accepted anywhere other than the gate?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, it's all generators, and why are we moving the shack right up to the
Up
top?
to the recycling.
And yeah. Like the shack is just there
Right, but that
for,
person still is kind of there. They're not at the face.
yeah, but they can kind of
But they could
be
do,
more
Right, so you're-
hands-on.
You're there, you're instructing someone to go over here. Someone else comes in, you got like 10 people, you have to still swipe everybody's card.
So what's the worst of the two evils? We have recycling going into the landfill, or we have paper going into the cardboard?
You'll be refused your recycling when it arrives at the MRF.
The people are, I mean, the residents are getting,
You'll be refused your
Are
recycling at
all of
the MRF.
the signs up, like there's
Yes.
now well sign up
Yeah.
there in a bit? So it's very clear as to what
I
goes in
think
what
so.
bag.
The signs are like huge.
Mhm.
It
Perfect.
says like
I'm big,
everything
so-
that,
Great.
I
So
mean,
for me, I would like to see what our compliance rate is. If your staff member on a weekend was just to sit back and not set instructions at or goes to the face for a weekend, how bad is our recycling? Maybe we risk manage and see, are people following recycling? Or if that person's not there, is it willy-nilly and we're getting rejected?
I think your biggest headache is keeping the cardboard pushed back.
and the plastics and cans once it gets near.
Yeah, but
the
I mean,
top.
Sure,
you
somebody
can
can
run
walk in
over,
the face and push.
Yeah.
right, for
30
10 minutes and go
Yeah.
back. I think that person needs to,
Just in the future, when we discuss our transition to SEMO taking over or not taking over, which we have to have a discussion by the end of August about. They're only going to accept 3% contamination.
well, and that'll justify another person there at the face.
And we tried to fight that. We tried to fight the 3% contamination as a group. However, in British Columbia, they got it to 3% contamination rate in recycling. Like that's when we have to really go hard. Like there's going to be no more allowance of like lids on glass, no more like any plastic wraps, any foam,
So
paper.
it's a paradigm shift for people, right? It's an education for them because this is what's going to save them money in the long term. It's going to
Exactly.
save our landfill, and this is the program. This is the program, right? You know, the laws came in, everybody had to wear seatbelts. You have to get used to it, right? So, and this is not a bad thing. This is a good thing. It saves the environment. So,
Well, and it's not a township rule. It's the recyclers rule.
right.
Yeah.
It's not
Provincial
going to collect any more
policy.
money other than maybe a bit of enforcement.
Right, it's provincial policy that we do this. I mean, and it's an implementation of the provincial policy.
All municipalities do it,
Well,
so.
Yes,
We're all
Yeah.
we're all going to have to go that way. We're
Yeah,
not going to be
without choice.
we're not going to be the unique one.
yeah.
Right. So
So-
I think it is just a matter of educating, and I think one of the issues too, Anne, is that they don't break down their cardboard, right? People need to
Big
like, they
time,
just,
that's a bad issue.
yeah, I know. That's probably one of the biggest ones because I watched that big machine push the cardboard into.
Yeah,
it
when
was
you were
awesome.
there that day, when I had to get someone to come push cardboard.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So
But-
where are we staying? September 30th? Hard
I'm
date?
fine with September
Yeah.
30th. It's what are we doing on September? What are we doing on the 1st?
And then are we doing the $5?
Yeah, is it $5? Is it rip open your bag? Is
Right.
it, we have
So-
somebody standing at the face? Actually, somebody, if we're gonna make that decision, that could be almost instantly or as soon as there's a staff availability. We have to put it in the budget. We don't currently have that staff person built into the budget,
Right.
right?
No, the $5 might pay for that extra staff person.
There won't be enough black bags to
Or-
pay for that, I hope.
Or here's a kind of a cheap option. The person at the gate says black garbage bag, get a little two-way radio. someone's coming up with black garbage bags.
Again,
Would that in the, in a red truck, be there till when he rips them open?
For sure, but I think what Councilor Featherstone was saying earlier is
Right.
we're seeing clear garbage bags with beer cans and everything else in it too, right? So it's really, it's the enforcement of, oh, hang on, don't throw that in there. Can you please go recycle?
My people do, like
Yeah.
they'll, oh, there, I see there's cans in there, those would go into the recycling.
how many staff work at yours?
Too.
But you don't have a
So,
card system.
Is that what they're doing currently when they
Mm,
see something in a
but not
clear?
like-
bag? If they
You have
see
someone
recycling
that
in
checks
a
the
clear
cards
bag, are they?
Suppose.
Well, right now, the focus is
Not
mostly
perfect, but-
on
Of course.
Black bags.
the, yes, the black bags. So, oh, I see you have black bags, just to let you know, because it's a soft opening, right? Just to let you know, we are turning the clear bags. Here's a clear bag.
What is it?
Here's a flyer.
Yeah.
It's $5.
So we've always been soft about,
So, yeah, I mean, give it September 30th, a hard date. I mean, everybody
Yeah,
seems,
and do you want the $5 per bag if they bring black?
I know it's tough.
It's against what we said, for sure, 100%, it's against what we said, but if we're allowing black bags to go in, we have to pay for another staff member.
right, so it's costing,
So if we
Us.
just say no black bags after that date, and they have to pay money if they're dumping a black bag, then it's a little bit revenue generating, and we don't have to pay for the extra staff member. But
And,
it is against what we said that we were gonna.
right. So an extra staff member, for round numbers, I know that we don't pay them this, but if by the time we actually do extra labor costs and or whatever, let's say it's, I'll just use round numbers. Let's say it's $20 all in, and we're paying that for
13 hours a week.
13 hours a week times 52 weeks. So that'd be $13,550. If we open on the Wednesdays, let's do that. It
That's
would
with
be
the Wednesday.
That's with the Wednesday?
That would be with the Wednesday
For
all
all
year.
three staff?
Yes. Or I'm just saying
that extra person.
per person, 13 hours.
Are you calculating how many black bags we would need?
No, what I'm doing is like, oh, so let's say Wednesdays, if it's $20 per person for benefits and all of that on top. So let's say it's $20. So you're $60 an hour for 3 people on Wednesdays. If we have one at the face, one at the recycling, one at the bin, times 3 hours a night, because it's 4 till 7. That's $180 times, let's say 26 weeks, because half a year. Oops. 60 times 3 hours is 180 times 26 weeks. It's 4,600, almost $4,700 to have staff there on a Wednesday for the 6 months of darkness. And 6 months might not be 6 months. I don't know how long.
Right. I think, like, I agree with Steve 100% on the third person. Always have, because the recycling attendant is there to ensure the purity of the recycling and
that's
keeping it
fair.
clean. The person that's at the face, like the other day, we're doing this recycling program and someone placed a wash machine in the landfill
Right.
when the bin for metal is right there
So,
with other wash machines beside it.
I mean,
Like it doesn't,
I think I don't think it's a permanent
no,
position. I think
until
it's,
people are on
right,
the
get on
cycle.
the recycling and know that someone's gonna be monitoring to clean up your recycling and your garbage.
And then
Right.
maybe,
To break the habits.
every once in a while, after people are pretty used to it, after 3 months, 4 months, 6
Right.
months, whatever,
Whatever.
Throw an
maybe
extra
we
person.
randomize it every
Right.
once in a while. We go 2 most times, and we go,
But a
3 for a
day in
few
where we're doing a
hours,
little inspections.
then, yeah, then we do
I agree with
a
that.
full day every once in a while, and we just
Yeah.
randomize it and to try and cut the staffing down.
Okay, so no, are we doing, so we're gonna put towards council third person and no $5 or
Yep, I would say that makes sense, because I don't think the $5 is gonna be
a deterrent?
a deterrent. I don't think the $5 is gonna be revenue generating enough. It's gonna offset the staff, the extra staff person. I mean, it'll be, my opinion would be it'll be negligible
Or the cost of landfill.
or the cost of landfill. So like, I just kind of go, You're probably gonna want to work with CIO to say, because this is gonna have budgetary implications, right? I can only assume for the extra, how many hours did you say it would be?
13.
What is the 13?
Oh, you may be able
Saturday,
to get away with
Wednesday.
not 13 with the third.
Yeah, so
Just let's say like, it's not really busy at 8 o'clock.
yeah, don't worry about.
So what happens if we
Wednesday.
did, 10 to 3
So you're looking.
So-
or
Put
something to
someone
that
who's doing
effect,
Saturdays.
1, 2, 3, so 5 hours? So
right?
let's just talk about, because Wednesday is gonna come as its own report. So let's just talk about, so it'd be
Saturday.
5 times, I'm gonna again, numbers is $100 times 50, I'll do 52 weeks, even though I don't think we're open. That's $5,200. So obviously we're gonna have to, that'll have to be a budget implication we're gonna have to talk about.
But again, we'll get that back. in
No, I don't
recycling.
disagree.
We'll
I'm
get
just
that
saying,
back in
but
scrap
we're
metal.
gonna
We'll get
need
that
it.
back.
Yeah, put in the budget.
In the budget, which is coming forward pretty quick. So
On the
without the
26th.
CAO here, somebody's gonna have to relay that message.
We'll be fine.
Thank you.
Okay, so
We'll work it out. Like, and if you're agreeable, like, like I said, it's not busy right at 8. You could have a 5-hour span
Yeah,
where
yeah, yeah.
someone's there. That's 5 hours less of
But if we're
stuff going
paying
in.
3 people, it should be pristine. Like there should be
be right.
no recycling in the landfill.
Yeah.
Should be
And I
no
mean-
bags. There should be like, because we're paying somebody to ensure that.
Here's the other, thing. You have
It's
to
a
have the
tough
right
job.
person up at the front,
Yeah,
there,
it's a
up the
tough
face.
job.
But
And what
I
power do
forget-
we provide them? Sorry, like, so somebody's
We
gonna
have a
go,
bylaw.
and
you
somebody's
lose
gonna
your
say,
landfill privileges.
Yeah, there's fines
so they will
actually
take
associated
their
with being
license
ignorant.
plate number and whatever.
I mean, it's not up to the employees to get in confrontations, like you
No,
said.
no.
Take,
The number and then that number is associated with
Or you
313 Young Street or whatever it is. That's happens my address.
Way to broadcast that.
Yeah, well, it's Bonfield. People know where I live. It's Claude's old house. That's how. So then it's just
Because their landfill card is assigned to the house or the person, right?
Yes, it's
So-
by the address.
Okay,
more
so,
than the house, the
You know,
person.
all they gotta have a little communication between the people taking the cards and the person at the face. This guy was belligerent, real bad.
We
at it.
also need to post some signs to say, to be respectful.
Right,
And,
staff isn't there for a punching bag.
yeah, but I think that that's actually quite the norm now when you call places, they
less than a
say.
sign stop somebody from being belligerent.
Right.
No,
I
but
get it.
but
I just-
we still need to post the signs to
It's-
say that,
it's-
Sure.
I mean, we.
For the cost of buying them all in, Donna, I'm not trying to block it. I'm just going, it doesn't,
We
it's
need
like
to-
telling somebody to put their dishes in the dishwasher, that their mother doesn't work at the office. Doesn't work either.
Right.
I know.
But we need to back staff on this, like they're not there to be
Yeah.
beat up, they're enforcing rules.
There are fines, however, associated with the landfill bylaw that the staff is not to be harassed.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
so I
That
think
fine in
I think you can message that out, Dan. You can put a sign up that says that.
Okay,
Okay, so, I mean, are we,
Supportive of staff. I appreciate that.
well, but the one attendant, I forget his name, but,
yeah, you can't say it.
right.
Okay.
Very, very vocal, but polite and very,
Yes,
you know,
but he really likes to
Sort of.
follow the rules.
right, and he's just sort of like,
Yeah,
hey.
he would
this
work the
goes here.
face.
Right, he's, yes, perfect,
That's the one we need working the fix.
Right. I mean, because, but he's,
Suck in the winter.
he's, he's
weather's
friendly,
bad,
but
you know.
he enforces, and he lets you know what's going on, which I thought was good.
Would be there.
What's that?
When it's super cold and super bad, you won't need to be there or won't need to be there
Right,
the whole time.
right.
Yeah.
And in our new
Before the
bylaw, we
meetings
did put in, if there's inclement weather, we would
So are
close
we,
the bylaw.
are we
because
changing this motion? then?
Other items. So September 30th,
Yes.
and we'll strike the rest. Is that the
Strike
plan?
away.
And then we'll see what happens on
Congress can recommend to
Tuesday.
the council that the soft opening to move to clear bags will end on September 30th. So the soft opening will end on September 30th.
Right.
And that the fee applied to the garbage, opaque bags and stuff. So straight. Okay. Well, that pen stopped working.
You like it?
Yeah, I do. Thank you.
The pen of
Are
authority.
we saying dump contents and recycle or pay five bucks?
Staff member. And dump.
So, and that the bylaw number 2327 being a bylaw to govern the management of the waste and recycling under the jurisdiction of the corporation of the township of Wallingford shall be in full compliance. We still want that? You.
Yes.
You want me to reread?
No, I don't
So
think
just,
so.
so if it says, sorry, and I know you need to read this officially, that the Public Works Committee recommends to council that the soft opening to move to clear bag system will end September 30th, 2023. And that bylaw number 2023-27 being a bylaw to govern the management of the waste and recycling under the jurisdiction of the corporation of the township of Bonfield shall be in full compliance authority.
Well, it's in full compliance regardless if we don't do the $5 because the imposition of fees
Yeah.
is the schedule.
Okay, so
Right.
basically this is saying everything that we put into the bylaw will start on
Right.
October 1st.
Right.
Until then, it's still at the discretion for teaching and learning
Yes.
and
And open
Yeah.
your bag at the
And we
face.
can revisit the fees if it is problematic.
absolutely.
Right,
Yeah,
yes.
It's moved by Featherstone, second by Corbett, that the Public Works Committee recommends to council that the soft opening to move to clear bag system will end September 30th, 2023. That the bylaw number 2023-27 being a bylaw to govern the management of waste and recycling under jurisdiction of the corporation of the township of Bonfield shall be in full compliance. All in favor? Carried.
what if we had questions? I'm kidding, we just think we beat that one to death.
No question.
All of our questions for the last hour.
It is Donna, it is so hot here, you should be
Yes.
thankful you're not,
And
in
before
person.
we close the meeting, I know that council, I know that council is always like asking for information. Our last road needs study was completed in 2016. Would you like that
No.
information?
I don't.
Or do you want the new?
But I
The
want
new.
The new.
Okay,
2016
and-
road study is gonna be
And
irrelevant.
Donna might want it, but
No, I don't mind the full report, but what I would request is that staff do an executive report with the salient points so that, that last report that we got was 70 pages long. It's riveting. But I think what would be helpful, have you guys read the report, the energy report?
No.
We are just in awe that you have, we appreciate
Spoiler
it.
I'm
alert.
not really in awe, but
But again, I think what would be helpful is if staff have already reviewed it, they need to do an executive summary with the salient points and if necessary, some recommendations. Some of us do like to read everything, but some of us don't have the time.
okay,
And-
perfect.
And we're not talking about the 2016 study, you're talking about the one that's upcoming, right? You're not asking for an executive
I'm
summary
talking
of.
about any
that's-
multi-page report that is excessive.
right, okay.
No problem.
Bingo. All right. Highlights. Adjournment.
Put my pen away.
I just put it away too early. It's always 2 hours a day.
I'm sorry. I bring up very hot topics.
You do, yeah, it's great.
Moved by Featherstone, second by Clark, that this meeting be adjourned at 8:50 PM. All in favor?
Wow. Oh, it's only an hour. I was thinking 6. Only an hour.
An hour
and 50
and
minutes.
50 minutes.
2 hours.
2 hours.
It just is 10 minutes short of 2 hours.
I don't have your records
No,
No.
for expedience.
all right, we're done.
Thank you.
See you,
Thank
Donna.
Yeah.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.